Okay, and sometimes people also relate the work breakdown structure by organization and or by phase. You know, phase, like, you know, it's the design phase and then the other phase. So when you see here in the project management, project requirement, the detailed design, and the, you know, the construction, integration, and then build up. So however you want to do is probably your business, but the point here is that try to know exactly, you know, the lowest point in that area. This is by organizational deliverables. This is another version of work breakdown structure. Okay? Now, you remember what I told you earlier, that once you had a meeting with your customer, okay, with Daniel, you gather your requirements, you put together those requirements, and then you send it to the customer to do what? To validate. Okay, they have to validate, and then they have to tell you that yes, this is what we want. Why do you need this? Ask me, why do you validate this?
Without their validation,
yeah. Because I think you know the rule that give it in writing, because oftentimes people forgot. And if you have it in writing, say, okay, this is what you want to get, and that's why validation is the process of formalizing acceptance of the completed project deliverables. Okay. It verifies the scope to make sure that all deliverables are included. Okay, it confirms. Okay, it confirms that the work being considered matches the detailed WBS project scope, project plan, and the whole deliverables. So you have to make sure that you get that. It's like a one-time check. It also confirms that stakeholders have reviewed and agreed with the deliverables and formalized the acceptance. This is the key. Okay, because sometimes, you know, when you have several iteration of requirement analysis session, your boss sends 3, 4, 5 different people. So for the entire requirement gathering, you'll have 5 people. Each one of them come at the specific area, and they only know one. So in that case, unless you have a written statement from each one of them, because you have to validate that, okay, this is what you want and this is what you get. Okay, so it's always good to confirm the stakeholders reviewed and then agreed. Okay, I like the quality control process that's concerned with correctness of the deliverables that makes the quality. And this one, validating the scope, is primarily concerned with acceptance of the deliverables, because we haven't started doing that. Okay, but this is what you will be getting. So you have to validate. That's part of the scope management. Okay, now we broke that work breakdown structure. We validate, then the last part is what? You control the scope. How do you control the scope? It's the process of monitoring the status of the project and the product scope, and then managing changes to the scope baseline. So now it comes with a new word, baseline. Can anybody tell me what baseline is? Okay. What else? The goal. Okay. Okay. So what's the baseline? Remember, we all know that, you know, what the baseline is, but from the project point of view, the baseline is a set of. You see, you remember, you validate the scope. You shook hand. You say, okay, this is what you're gonna get, and this is when you're gonna get. So now that project, we agree that it's going to cost me $6 million Okay, I will deliver it in 12 months with certain quality. Okay, you said, okay, then I will baseline this. This is your baseline. This is my ground zero. Okay, that means this is a baseline. Now, 6 months later, okay, you may go back and then review your activity, and then you compare with this baseline to see how you progress on that. So the baselining is the starting point. Okay, and because the reason why this baseline is available is that here is the deal. When oftentimes projects expand, okay, you plan with $6 million, and then it's 12 months. When you review at month 3, you already spent $2 million. Okay, then when you start reviewing, something is not going right, because you spend this amount of dollar. We're going to discuss on the cost, but what you delivered is like 25% less than what you think in your baseline. So now we have a difference. So what do you do? So you have to go back and then adjust. So now many projects, smart projects, you know what they do? They cancel this and then they rebaselined it. Okay, and then start from zero. Okay, and then if there is a discrepancy, you cancel it and then you rebaseline it here. What do you do is actually, you are cheating the yourself and the system. Okay, now OMB, the Office of Management and Budget, they said that because they're the one who gives you the budget for the federal government. Give me your budget, how much it's going to cost you, and how long it's going to cost you. Then every year, we're going to review your budget. If your costs is greater than 20% of your baseline cost, okay? If your cost is greater than, means that if you are over by 20%, kill it. Why? Because remember, in the old days, they keep on rebaseline. When they rebaseline, you know what? This amount of money, you know what is called? It's a sunk cost, a cost that you'll never recover it. Okay, that's called sunk cost. There is one exam question from PMI that comes. It's called what is sunk cost? Means that, you see, you literally dismantle everything and then you start from here, okay? As if nothing is there, and then you come here, you say the project is $6 million, 18 months, and with quality. So what they are saying here is that in terms of the area here, the process of monitoring the status of the project and product scope, and then managing change to the scope baseline. Okay, in your spare time, I want you to read or to Google a project or a program. Is called Boston Big Dig. How many of you have been in Boston? Okay, so the Boston Big Dig. This is a program that was designed about 20 years ago by the Massachusetts Transportation Authority to build a tunnel that, for 95 North that goes through the heart of the city. And that project was financed by the state and then the federal government. And the project originally, when they originally agreed that the project would cost 2.4, I'm not sure, but it's like 2.4 billion, and I think it's 6 years. That was the original project. And then guess what? When the project was completed, the total project costed $14.2 billion and 12 years. And still part of the tunnel is falling down and killing people. So quality, zero. So many research papers, so many presentation has been done with this project. So why do you think, like, the cost estimate pretty much quadrupled? Inflation.
Probably.
Inflation is probably like 5%.
Yeah. Probably the right requirement was not obtained.
Okay, remember.
They had poor quality control.
Okay, but remember, with the topic we are now, scope. Okay, that scope was not properly defined. You see, when I give that project to my students, I tell them, go back and then read and then break it down. What was the original scope? Why this is not a scope creep? This is like a scope jump. And the federal government, and there are so many. Bechtel is the construction company, one of the largest companies in the United States. The major company.
What's going on right now is that mosquito incident. What is it? The Zika?
Yeah.
Zika.
Zika.
The
Sorry,
Zika.
sir.
Yeah.
Zika.
Yeah.
That's another so-called Boston Big D.
Okay. So now with this project, what they originally anticipated was just to build the tunnel. Okay, they didn't